And so I remind people whenever they have a bad day, I say, who is your alter ego? And enter that phase. This is you now. Don't take no.
Move beyond the content. It's so easy to feel complacent and content in life and to not challenge yourself outside of the norm or societal pressures or what is prescribed for you in your life by others and not yourself and your own identity.
After Estee Lauder companies, I pivoted into Ralph Lauren. And if you knew me as a 10-year-old, I would tell everyone, I'm going to work at Ralph Lauren one day. And everyone said, no, you're not.
The purpose and the passion that you have behind something, and then the self-doubt comes in. Welcome to In the Room on Purpose. This show is for women who are building, leading, questioning, stretching, and most importantly, becoming. I'm your host, Alyssa, and I sit down with powerful women to have honest conversations about ambition, leadership, growth, and what it actually looks like to find your voice and own your space. Sit down, get comfortable. I am so happy you're here. And Lachlan, welcome to In the Room on Purpose.
Well, thanks, Alyssa. Thanks so much for having me on your show. I'm excited to be here.
I'm so happy that you're here because two reasons. One, just going to give you a big shout out here. You're a 2-time founder, a creative strategist, and the mind behind So Sloan, which we're going to get into today. What I learned from you in our original conversation was there is a world of creative marketing and AI that I didn't even know about. So I think this is going to be a really cool listen. And you're a really wonderful human being sitting in LA on the West Coast. I'm excited to dig into your story a little bit.
Well, thanks, Alyssa. Thanks so much for connecting. I think it was like when we jumped on that call a few weeks back, I was like, wow, I feel like we both come from really different worlds within like the greater, business ecosphere. So it's awesome to connect there. And I love what you're doing on this podcast and really bringing advice to people and making these conversations happen and spread them.
The cool thing about our conversation today is that we both podcast. So you're
Yeah.
my first podcaster on the show.
Oh, amazing. Well, I'm so excited to be on the other side of podcasting, and it's going to be like a bit of a switch. So I'm excited to see what the other side's like.
You might go into question mode, but
I
that's
might.
okay.
Yes. Yeah. Warn me to say like, no, switch back, switch back.
Well, I want to take a second to go back to where you came from, your history, where you grew up, and paint the picture for us a little bit about little Anne and your life in the early days.
Sure. I grew up in a suburb outside of Chicago and had an amazing childhood, great family. But entrepreneurship wasn't on everyone's mind. I think people always respected them and talked about it. But when I went off to college, everyone was on a very linear path. They were becoming the doctor, the lawyer, and the engineer, or going into investment banking. And I remember standing up as a barely 18-year-old freshman and I said, I don't want to do any of that. I want to start my own business. I want to build businesses. I want to grow them. And people said, that is insane. Why are you going to spend all this money on education, work all so hard to just suffer? And I thought, I don't think it's suffering. I think it's building. And so I remember sitting down with the Career Center and they were so lost. They're like, can't we just put you into this company or this role? And I said, they're amazing. They're great. How can I build? And so when I graduated from college, I said, okay, I'm going to learn from the best. So I landed a job at the Estee Lauder companies working in global special events. And if you knew me in college, I was what people called the girl who was always obsessed with fashion and clothes and going to boutiques and thrift stores, but I knew nothing about makeup. I thought if you put on eyeliner, that was, really intense eye look. So it was kind of funny that I ended up at the Estee Lauder companies where people are having these beautiful winged eyeliner and like orange shadow on like a Tuesday morning at 8 a.m. And they're so gifted and talented and they're sculpting their faces. So I learned a lot about beauty. It was more than just painting your face. It was selling this product and understanding the emotion it brought to women and to men, to everyone, right, that was wearing makeup. So after Estee Lauder companies, I pivoted into Ralph Lauren. And if you knew me as a 10-year-old, I would tell everyone, I'm going to work at Ralph Lauren one day. And everyone said, no, you're not. And I still remember going to the Career Center saying, I will work at Ralph Lauren before I die, like in corporate. And they said, good luck, honey.
I
Never gonna happen.
wish we had that audio. I wish you
I
had that
wish
in your
you.
life.
I so wish. And I just said, Ralph Lauren, he is the iconic story builder. He's the marketer. He builds this world of aspiration and like lifestyle, and it's beyond the polo pony. Like, look what he's done for like Americana and Western and his Double RL brand. He builds these worlds and people want into it. And so thankfully, someone I used to work with, they pulled me into Ralph Lauren. It was such a beautiful place to work, amazing people, and I got to work on the Double RL line. And if you know a little bit or a lot about it, it's a very special brand to Ralph Lauren. And I learned so much about not just marketing and apparel and fashion, but also about storytelling. And that's what really ignited that within me. And then from there, I moved to San Francisco to work on the Marc Jacobs beauty line back when it was just starting. And we did a lot of work with Sephora. It got me back into the blend of beauty meets fashion world. I was the girl working backstage at New York Fashion Week, closing down the Marc Jacobs show and telling this model which look she's wearing. And it was chaos, but I had so much fun. And someone said, "You thrive in chaos in the very best way." And I don't get stressed out by it, but I also build off that excitement. And we were traveling to New York, back to SF. It was such a beautiful time in that industry because of YouTube and how people are starting these careers in social media. And the minute they're talking about your lip gloss, it sells out the next day. And wow, it was a very intense time to be in marketing, but it was also a very lucrative time to be in the beauty industry. And, that's how I ended up in this crazy world of beauty now meets wellness. There was like a middle ground there where I was approached by a tech company to move to LA. And I never ever thought about LA ever in my life of would I move there. So I wound up in LA after being flown to a dinner party on a Tuesday night. And a year later, it turned into a job offer. And we were picked up by Techstars and Accelerator. And then when that closed day one of COVID, that's when I started my first business.
A lot to unpack here, but a couple of things that really stand out and are so interesting to me is it didn't seem like your college had any sort of entrepreneurship program, and that's what I
Oh,
graduated in. So it's crazy
oh,
that
wow.
you were educating them on the path you wanted to take.
So interesting that you brought that up is, I mean, there's a lot to that story as well, but I won't take over the podcast with that. That could be for another time. So when I was in college and I thought, how can I learn the world of entrepreneurship? And there was a club called the E Club, and it was entrepreneurship club. And I thought, this sounds amazing. This is great. And I remember showing up and I felt like everyone there just understood each other. I was like, I found
Mhm,
my people. They were
mhm.
daydreamers, but they also took concepts and they commercialized them and they became my friends. And then I joined the entrepreneurship club, and that's where I really got my start and my love beyond just like the lemonade stands growing up. And it was really through those people that I met at that club.
How did you really begin to connect with entrepreneurship at a young age?
I think it was growing up in the Midwest is, you kind of have to have imagination, right? You have to have fun. Like you're going to build your own world. And I remember reading the Dr. Seuss books as a kid and, Cat in the Hat. And it was all about you can have no toys, no gadgets, but you use your imagination. And that's so powerful. I remember one girl, she had all these, those toys you get in like your McDonald's Happy Meals. She's like, what if we started selling these? And we could say, you can no longer get this Disney princess. And I was like, genius. We're probably 8 years old at a street corner saying, what if we can expand our lemonade from yellow and pink lemonade to chocolate chip cookies to like limited edition McDonald's toys. And it was just like a fun thing to do to meet people. And I thought, like, I love sports and I was always playing tennis or like soccer outside. I think it was like commercializing things and it was the goal of something, but it was team building. And we had someone who'd be waving a flag at the cul-de-sac to like, wave down the car to come over. And then we had someone in the sign and the other person is like the accountant soon to be who's punching the numbers on the cash register or like keeping notes in their book. Um, I think it's the team building that's really special. But at the end of the day, you have something to bring to the table, and it always will go back to building for me.
Not you guys finding an absolute gap in the market at the time to sell limited edition McDonald's toys. Like, that is a really powerful example of where you started and the people you were surrounded with and the conversations you were having as a little girl. And that's really
It was
cool.
fun. I mean, I think the velocity was there, but the distribution was very low, so it didn't really take off the ground. But at the time, it was quite fun. So,
Yeah. Didn't have a thick top line or bottom line
no, but
protection.
high velocity for like the 3 block, market we had going. So
Yeah. I think that Midwest humans and the Midwest in general is one of the most genuine places to spend time. I've always had such wonderful experiences, and I know that when we first met, your energy just felt so kind and supportive. And when you think about yourself becoming an entrepreneur, you're a two-time founder, where I wanna lean in and maybe walk through some real-time advice, some reflecting on your own story, is building that team that you mentioned in a solo journey. You know, founder journey often starts with one person or maybe a couple of founders, and it can be alienating, it can be lonely. And I know that your recent journey to find camaraderie and to build a support network is something that's inspiring to me. So, walk us through that and what's some advice you have for entrepreneurs?
I would say everyone at first is out there saying, I need a co-founder. And I think co-founders are awesome. Like partnership is amazing. What you have to look at is why do you need a co-founder? Are you looking for your
Mhm,
yin to your yang? I think a perfect example is someone's really good with sales and someone's really good with technology. They're a perfect duo together. I also
mhm.
think a lot of people sit there and say, I need a co-founder because it's one excuse that they want to give to themselves and to the world to keep them from starting something that they know is going to be a challenge. So look at it big picture of who do you need on your team? Why do you need them? And what can you do until you find them? I would say a co founder is very much like any type of partnership. Don't just rush in, really get to know the person. Just because someone's your best friend might not be your best business partner. And just because someone's your best business partner, they might not be your best friend. I think in
Amen.
like symbiotic world, they are a lot of things, but just take or just also what do you want at the end of the day? Do you want someone who has the opposite skill set? Do you want someone who's going to push you? Do you want someone who is has that same level of risk that you do? These are all really individual questions. There's no right answer and there's no wrong answer. It's the taking time to ask those questions that you're afraid to maybe say out loud that's going to help you in the long run.
I think the fear of not having all of the answers or feeling like a true expert, it often outweighs the purpose and the passion that you have behind something, and then the self-doubt comes in, and then the intrusive thoughts. And your journey is really inspiring because you have a path of co-foundership and now are really grounded in this solo entrepreneur journey and building an empire of your own. So take us to your first real experience as an entrepreneur and building your first business. This episode is brought to you by Coffitivity, a science-backed sound platform designed to help your brain focus. Coffitivity recreates the sounds of a coffee shop. Research shows that moderate ambient noise, like a cafe environment, actually enhances creativity and cognitive performance. It simulates abstract thinking without all of the distractions that come from lyrics or heavy beats. Lucky for us, our friends at Coffitivity have given us a 20% off code for you to try it yourself. Teachers use it in classrooms, and if you're in college, this is the perfect way to maximize that all nighter. You know what I'm saying. Their ad-free subscription ranges from $2.99 to $3.99 per month, and our code INTHEROOM20 will save you 20% off any subscription option that you choose. So whether you are preparing for your Q2 meeting, brainstorming on strategy, reviewing performance reviews, or redoing your resume to find your next job, or just trying to get through your daily to-dos without getting distracted, this gives your brain the perfect background hum to stay focused. Head to coffitivity.com, use the link in the room 20 to join me and 300,000 other listeners today.
So I always like to tell people there are two types of people in the world. There's one person who's going to say, you don't have that experience, therefore you can't do it. And there's another person that's going to say, I'm going to learn how to do it. You just need to decide which person you want to be. We're all learning as we're going. So your willingness to be curious and to learn is what's going to make you succeed. Doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter where you went to school and how many degrees. Doesn't matter how many hours a day you're watching YouTube. Are you willing to learn? Are you willing to be curious? And are you willing to fail and get back up? So it's that resiliency that is so, so, so important. And what I've learned now, starting with this new journey, is the humbling effect that I really, really forgot about is that when you start a business, it's a lot of super chaotic, really busy days. And then there are silent days. And then you have to be really headstrong to say, Some days you're going to have 10 sales calls and you're going to feel amazing. You might feel a little stressed at the end of the day. And there might be another week where you don't hear back from anyone, and that's okay. There are other ways to stay busy. Maybe that's when you work on your newsletters, your social media campaigns. It's when you do your research. That's right. When you write your SEO blog posts. So you really have to become your own cheerleader and learn how to be resilient, especially at the beginning.
Yeah, it's so real. I feel that on such a guttural level and true across career types. You don't have to be an entrepreneur to really feel the power of resilience and how it shows up in your work every single day, but also the humility that it takes. Like at the end of the day, we're here for such a short time. Let's have some fun with it and let's continue to move forward positively. Something that Anne said before we started recording was just choosing to be positive and
Mhm,
supportive
mhm.
and, really leaning into that. So tell me how your philosophy has changed over the years. Like, what part of you is connecting to that narrative right now?
Yes. If you met me in high school, I was that type A person. I would stay up all
That
night.
makes
I
sense.
would study. I was that person who probably woke up at 5 a.m. to finish the paper and prep for the test, to be at student council meetings at 6:30, to be in class by 7:30. It ends by 3. Then I'd go play varsity tennis and I get home at 10 o'clock at night after playing 3 matches. And then I do that homework and I never slept. And then I got to college and I was just totally exhausted. I was burnt out and I was not a positive person by any means. And then I think what entrepreneurship and building careers and working in the real world of business, not so much in academia, has taught me, like, you have to be positive if you want to win. And then also now in this world of LA, as an ex New Yorker, New Yorkers are really critical, they're cynical. Uh, Maybe not the most positive people. I love New Yorkers so much, so I say that in the best way, and I still feel very much like a New Yorker. LA teaches you to quote manifest. And whether you believe in manifestation, visualization or not, it's really about your mindsets, whether you're woo woo or not. You have to say, I am one, capable of doing this. Two, this is my roadmap to get there. And three, I'm going to laugh more. When you make mistakes, that is when you succeed. And more people need to talk about failures. And what do I mean
Mhm.
by that? If you look back at your year and you have checked off all your boxes, you've probably stuck to a very, I want to say, possible goal list. But if you sat there and say, I only checked off 3 out of 10 of my goals for this year, you had lofty goals. And I would say that person who has the lofty goals that only scored a 30% versus 100%, they've pushed themselves. And that's because they were able to say with a positive mindset, I can make this happen. Basically, like, I can get to the moon versus I can drive an hour away. I think there's this mode of staying outside your comfort zone, moving beyond the content, and respecting yourself for failing versus only appreciating your wins because the failure is what brings you success. Most people don't talk about their failures. And a lot of what I want to do going forward is to talk about the mistakes I've made and why they're not bad things, but rebrand mistakes as learning opportunities, and that it's a privilege to be able to choose to make mistakes.
Such a privilege. Move beyond the content. It's so easy to feel complacent and content in life and to not challenge yourself outside of the norm or societal pressures or what is prescribed for you in your life by others and not yourself and your own identity. And when you think about how you've lived in so many different cultures within the US, that has kind of helped to define and refine your life strategy and who you are as a person.
I think I'm kind of exploring who I actually am because I would never call myself a perfectionist. If you've ever been to one of my dinner parties, you can always tell the perfectionist is kind of like moving the flatware and like lining it up and making these arrangements. And I'm like, I'm literally known as the host who would never stress over a dinner party. There's many other things in life to stress over. It should not be a dinner party. You should be fun, at ease, and the whole point is to entertain. So parts of me, not a perfectionist, parts of me, yes, but I would say still discovering who I am.
I love that. Take us on that journey a little bit because it's a rediscovery of self, I believe, kind of throughout your lifetime. And if you're not connecting with yourself and how your preferences evolve, how your journey evolves, You missed that the whole point of life. So what does that reconnection look like? What are you reading right now? What are some of the mantras that you're telling yourself? And are you manifesting for 2026?
Definitely manifesting. I would say probably up until 5 years ago, if someone told me that they were manifesting, I'd probably roll my eyes and walk away, and if you definitely mentioned crystals, I would be like, "Run for the hills." And now I see all sides of people, and it doesn't mean everyone needs to make a bingo card for 2026. However, if you wanna have fun and, say, get to really specific goals, make that bingo card along with your visualization, along with your text visuals. I think we all are in different eras. We go through different eras of time, and it's not like you could say collectively we're all doing this together or not. I think a lot of us are probably in the same zone when we're in college in our early 20s, and then we have a splinter era. Some people are climbing the corporate ladder. Some people are being humbled and starting the business. Some people are becoming parents for the first time. Other people are moving away or they're moving back home. And so, with that splinter era, we really get to see who we are. And in our 30s and 40s beyond, I'm sure we can understand what we like and what we don't like. And I'm definitely going through that. And I feel like I have been for the past 10 plus years. One thing I started doing back in 2022 is solo adventures, and I would go outside the country and take a trip alone. My first one was in Costa Rica. I literally went to a small town called Samara, and I surfed. I went horseback riding, went to the beach, yoga. I wasn't part of a retreat. I just literally went by myself to this small town, and I got to understand, what do you like doing and why? And then that expanded into Spain and Portugal and beyond. And some people might think of, oh, that's sad. She has no one to go with. No, there's plenty of people I could go with. What I learned is that that's when you really see who you are because you're stepping outside your comfort zone, especially when you're going to a country where it's not your culture, it's not your language, it's not your time zone. You can't rely on your friend to say, help me look at Google Maps and how do I get around the city? Or, oh my gosh, I've never done this activity like surf before. I'm going to look like an idiot because I'm falling off the surfboard. It's building the resiliency, but you're also learning like what do you like to do and what's not. And I tell everyone, no matter what you are in life, go to like safely go take a journey alone and travel the world. And I don't mean going within your own country to a different city. That's fine. But truly traveling alone is going outside your culture and outside your language. And that's when you can really see what you love and what you don't like and who you are.
It is the through line of your life, truly, from a young age and how you described yourself, the little girl behind the lemonade stand to solo traveling to the founder experience. You are not afraid of failure or judgment in the way that some people can struggle with those things. And failure to you is almost adventure. And I really like that you said, own your failures and incorporate that into your story. So it's a good segue into your first founder experience and creating a business, what you learned in that process. And then we're going to compare it to your second founder experience and what you're learning in real time right now.
Well, I'd first say there was definitely a time I was afraid of failure and I was afraid of judgment. And there are definitely still days I am caught in that windstorm of judgment or what does this person think about me or I can't believe they made that comment. We're all human. I think you get to a point of I tell people create content, whatever that content is. It's not for everyone. Create products. It's not for everyone. If everyone likes something, then you're probably not being honest with yourself. Going back to the first company, we started it because me and my then co-founder, we were working at a company. It closed on day one of COVID. There was a freak out moment. And I said, how am I going to pay my bills? I'm stuck. I called recruiters and they were laughing. They're like, there are no jobs. Figure it out. So I sat there and I thought, all my friends are talking about how they're spending so much more money on skincare because they're staring at themselves on Zoom, or they want to have self care because they're at home, or maybe it's the perfect time for them to try retinol and go through the crazy stages of the 4 to 6 weeks of post retinol usage if you've ever tried it. So, skincare is booming and people are turning to direct to consumer to purchase things. People need photos and videos to optimize their ads and their organic content, their landing pages, to drive that product. So I thought, I have a lot of friends that are creative and they're not able to go to set. They need business. I need a business. Skincare industry is booming. What can I do? Oh, what if I safely reach out to these skincare companies, have them ship products to my friends who are the creatives who can take photos or short form videos in the safety of their own home in California and in New York. And then they create content, and I'm the middle person who's doing the operations. And this will hold me over for the 3 weeks of COVID. And that was how my mind thought. And obviously, COVID was way longer than 3 weeks. And then I started seeing, oh, it's a business. Like, this is more than just a hobby. This is paying my bills. I can stay in LA. I don't have to move back home. I'm helping my friends. And this is really, really fun. And that's how my first company, Dilly, got started. And so it was a really feel good opportunity. And then from there was a lot happening within the world of social media. 2020 was a huge pivot moment. Video became, make it or break it for most of these brands and creators. And so we started reaching out to paid media agencies saying, hey, come to us. We'll create the content. You can white label our content. We'll make it for you. Partnerships there. That brought us up to the next level. And I thought we constantly have to evolve. So I thought, let's look at data without spending a lot of money. I'm going to go down a rabbit hole of YouTube and learn how to write SEO blog posts. And I'm going to see what's driving the most traffic to our site. So I started writing these blog posts and I said no to all the agencies pitching me. And I started getting traffic for AI photos and videos back in March of 2023. So 3 years ago. And Women's Wear Daily saw it, picked it up, and said, can we write a feature on you talking about how beauty is going to get a makeover with AI photo and video? And I thought, is this a scam? This is Women's Wear Daily. And no, it was Jennifer Wheel from Women's Wear Daily. And I thought, so cool. My little SEO blog post caught the attention of this renowned editor. And now they're writing a feature, which then got us multiple partnerships with these big companies, all because I didn't let fear of writing my own SEO blog posts to drive traffic to our site to win new business. And that's a perfect example of like lean into the fear and own it. And there are blog posts that did well, and there are blog posts that got zero clicks.
You were going to share your story, whatever topic it was going to be, in whatever was relevant at that time. And this research resonated with you and you were like, let's go. I'm going to get this done. And I feel like that is what people see when you're really speaking from a place of interest and passion and purpose. People are ready to pick that up and to share it across a larger platform. You in the world of AI, where women make up only 22% in this industry. How have you integrated into this industry? Your SEO journey kind of became artificial intelligence, and you're expanding on that with your new business, which we're going to get into, called So Sloan. But walk us through being a female in AI when it's not a big representation that we have in that
Mhm.
field.
I think there's a lot of people that might say, oh, what is she doing? She should just continue talking about makeup and whatever she does. And I don't know. I just never listened to the conversations around me. And I'd never really thought of who belongs in technology and who doesn't. I'm a big believer in just because you haven't done something before doesn't mean you can't do it, because we're all human. We're only built learning so much. The whole point of life is to stay curious and to learn and to evolve and to build and to grow together as humans. Estee Lauder companies, my friends would do my makeup in college. I was definitely not the girl doing people's makeup. I was definitely not a cheerleader. I wasn't a child actor. I wasn't a dancer. I didn't know how to do make. I still would say I probably don't know how to do my own makeup. I know how to market to people and the emotional connection people make with skincare, wellness, and beauty products.
What is your philosophy on how you build marketing campaigns for women to engage with
Mhm.
AI? And then we'll go back to the alter ego.
Okay. So when I look at the consumer goods industry, I look at it as we're more educated than ever as consumers because we're more aware. However, a lot of times people will still get ads and believe it. And those ads are because there's big dollar behind it, or a creator might recommend a product. And skincare, hair care, makeup is hyper personalized. So I thought, what about the transparency can we get to the right consumer? So I started doing some research, especially after working in media now for 15 years, and realizing that even if my sister uses a product doesn't make it necessarily the best product for me. Even if my dermatologist tells me what moisturizer to use, it still might not be the best moisturizer for me because skincare is chemistry and it's very complex. And there's no one size fits all when it comes to skincare. So I started typing into ChatGPT, what is the best moisturizer for someone who has rosacea prone skin, but still wears well under Armani Luminous Silk Foundation? And if you know anything about foundation and moisturizer pairing, it is really complex. And that's because of a water based or silicone based product. And that's when things start separating. And I thought, what if there's a way that we can help brands get to their right consumer so that the replenishment and the lifetime value of that consumer is extended? And at the same time, consumers can find the right product so that they're one, not wasting time and they're not wasting their hard earned money on buying the incorrect product. And three, how can we also work with creators who have these niche specialties really speak to why these products work or time to move on or how to like evolve beyond their skincare regimen, right? If you open most people's medicine cabinets or see their bathroom counter, there's so many products. You don't need 20 steps in your skincare ritual. You just need a few great things. And especially now when people are more strapped for cash due to inflation and the competitiveness of the world, I think it's really important that people find the right products for them. And that's why I want to start with skincare and wellness and helping people find the right supplements or what is the best, you know, supplement for their scalp health or for fighting acne from the inside versus topicals or what is the eyeliner that's going to stay on their lid for 16 hours a day because they're this high powered executive who's gone all the time and can't touch up their eyeliner between meetings. It makes a difference. And that's also really fun. So that's what we're focusing on with AIO content for AI search, starting with skincare and wellness and expanding beyond there at Sloan.
You're bringing some vulnerability to an industry and a search engine that is really intimidating, but I think you're bringing some humanity to questions that we're all asking and trying to figure out, but also you're bringing a solution to a female who's looking for the right skincare regimen, the right product, the right lipstick that truly solves for what she's experiencing at the point she is in life. There's a lot of fear around AI, and I really want you to debunk that for us because it's not all scary. And you're really leading in this conversation around AI as it relates to finding the right beauty product in an intimate way.
I would say fear creates resistance. And when most people are afraid of something, they bash it. I have a firm belief if you're afraid of something, go understand it. The more we can learn about it, the more we can understand, the more we can have conversations of there are good things in AI and there are bad things with AI. I always tell people sign up for a few newsletters, maybe read them every Friday morning while you're having your coffee and understand the updates, the good and the bad and the ugly. There's always going to be two sides of the coin. It's bringing this authenticity moment of which needs to have a bigger spotlight. Yes, there are so many bad things that can happen with AI, as is with anything that we create, right? However, the good part of it is I really think it's going to unearth what is actually good for us and not. A perfect example is in consumer products. We're able to quickly see if there are toxin ingredients or not based on certain claims and data, right? It's going to
Mhm.
unearth that. That is AI taking away the veil of this is the best dishwasher detergent or this is the best hand soap for you. It's actually going to let you know. A perfect example is there is a very famous SPF that is in most of our dermatologist's office saying it's the number one recommended SPF for sensitive skin. It actually has one of the biggest ingredient that causes acne and breakouts. So why are we marketing this to people and they're suffering and they're continuing to get lasers and peels and go to their facialist and spend so much money, or they're going on Accutane and they're causing other issues to happen to their health? And maybe they just shouldn't be using that SPF, and that's what's causing them to break out. That's what I wanna solve, and I think that's what speaks to people of AI does have that power to bring authenticity back into the conversation and help if we use it wisely and correctly. And if we don't let it bring fear, we try and understand it as best as possible, knowing it's evolving every second of the day.
This is an area where we want to learn more. We want to know what we're putting on our skin. that matters to us, especially the older we get. We want something that's not just filler, not a product for the sake of using a product or because we should or we're told we should. We want something that's supportive of our life and our lifestyle. I never truly thought to utilize, this is going to sound so crazy, but I didn't think to utilize AI in this way in connecting myself to better products until
Hmm.
we spoke.
Oh, wow.
And it
Okay.
kind of blew my mind. A lot of the work that you do is really fascinating to me, but let's go back to So Sloan and this alter ego concept, and then from there we'll evolve into some of the CGI work that you do. That's really incredible.
So I love talking with people about what's their alter ego. And I think a lot of times people say someone's alter ego is like the evil side of them. And I don't think so. I actually think it's the best part of us that I always say it's kind of like a statue and we're like picking away at the marble and we actually get to see who we are. So this goes back to starting my first company and it was 2020 cold emailing massive amounts of people was really, really working. It was my second time doing cold emailing for sales. And I was emailing everyone from Anne. No one was responding. And this we didn't have ChatGPT, we couldn't say, "Optimize my email for me." But a lot of friends that had companies said cold emails working for them, so it should be working for you. We had similar clients. And I thought, maybe it's because everyone sees the name Anne and they're like, "Oh, it sounds like my grandmother's name or something." And I don't want to answer Anne's email. And people said, "No, like have more confidence." So I said, "What is a character in a movie that I respect? It's cool, confident, Sloan. Perfect, Sloan. Let's try Sloan." So I gave her a name and emailed Sloan at dilly.com, which was my first company. And all of a sudden, the same emails, I'm telling you, same subject line, same text, people started answering. And we
Wild.
started getting sales. And people said, "I want to buy this photo package, this video package." And I thought, the power of a name is something I hadn't tapped into yet. And so over time, Sloan became not just an email alias, she became like a faux assistant, or whenever we would be chasing invoices, she became the, I don't know, the CFO who was saying, "We need this invoice paid on time." Or she would help close sales deals by sending the deck. So it looked like you weren't just, one of two employees at the company. And then a friend of mine said one day, "You are Sloan." Sloan's not an email alias. Sloan is the Anne when you're at your best, like when you're laughing, when you're hosting dinner parties of 20 people, half of which you've only met once, when you're taking solo adventures, when you're lifting up your friends, when you are the light of the room, you are Sloan.
Hmm.
It's your alter ego. And so my friend, who's a neuropsychologist, for her bachelorette party, gifted everyone a makeup bag and engraved something on it, like a phrase that they say or what they're known for. And on mine was a name and it said Sloan. And it stuck with me. And I thought, I need to lean more into who Sloan is and who is your alter ego. So it goes back to the building and the entrepreneurship is we all have a shadow selves. We're afraid sometimes to do something, especially in the world of social media and hiding behind a screen. But if we lean into or step into our alter ego, then we can enter our most powerful era yet. And so I remind people whenever they have a bad day, I say, "Who is your alter ego?" And enter that phase. This is you now. Don't take no as an answer. Take it as a not yet. Power through. It's okay to fail. Brush up your knees and keep on walking. You're going to trip again, and it's okay. The fact that you're trying is incredible. So I'm also starting the So Sloan Society, which is a platform to help people engage with their alter ego and step into their alter ego era to become their most confident self, whether that's being a freshman in college and learning who you are for the first time and getting away from home, or being the entrepreneur or the manager who's saying, "I need to get to the C-suite job in my corporation," whatever it is, or the mom who's, the first time mom and wants to be their confident self with their newborn baby or the new homeowner, whatever it is. I want you to enter your alter ego era because I want people to feel their best, and high tides raise all boats. I truly believe that.
Absolutely. I was having a conversation earlier today. When one woman wins, it is a win for absolutely all of us. Stepping into your alter ego era is genius. And that's genius.
I love it. Thank you. That's so kind of you. I think it's fun. I think it's a way of I love seeing other people smile, and I love seeing other people laugh, and I think so many of us take life so seriously. I was definitely one of them at one point, and I still have those days. It's just a good lighthearted way of saying, like, "We're all in this together."
How do you plan on coaching people through that process and getting them to let down a couple of barriers or let down of pieces of their identity that they're holding on to in order to find this alter ego?
I think it's more of this non-traditional way of helping people self-discover, and if you create content and share stories that are vulnerable and have taken people through those chapters of, I have made mistakes, I have failed. They are not regrets, but they are lessons. It's okay for you to explore as well and take those risks and see what happens. So it's about creating content and sharing stories and for people to digest and say, how can I take this on my own journey to step into my highest power in my alter ego era? It's a means of inspiring.
Love it. What is some of the work that you're doing right now that you're absolutely obsessed with in your day to day?
I love the CGI and the AI content world. I would say that kind of makes me laugh the most, maybe because there's something about like a childhood energy to it where it's fun and it's gimmicky, it's cool. So a lot of what we're doing, like for example, like this is a Merit lip gloss, and let's say we'll film a real scene. Let's say it's the pier, Santa Monica boardwalk, oceans right there, and then you see this Merit lip gloss flying. It's actually a blimp, and then it poofs, and like all this beautiful rain comes out of it, and it's red or something for Valentine's Day. That's an example of a CGI video, where it has a real human actor, real human footage, but it's a product marketing message, so it's great for driving engagement on social. What we're able to do now is to really create some efficiencies behind those types of videos, as well as offer more economical solutions for people that want to have a higher output of content. Obviously, content is being digested faster and faster than ever across YouTube Shorts,
Mhm.
TikTok, Instagram. There's no longer just like one big ad, every couple weeks or organic content for that matter. So we're working more with AI and having the splashier CGI moments and then the more economical AI content moments. And so that's some of my favorite things that we're doing right now. But separately, I would say is also the content of creating the alter ego series that I recently started with So Sloan, and Sloan being the poster child of the alter ego world really excites me, and people will send me messages saying, wow, I never thought of it that way, or that helped me get through, my test as going into medical school, or that really helped me say, hey, I can start this side hustle, or hey, I can reach out and offer styling because that's where my passion is, or I've always wanted to become a chef and now I'm going to start cooking for my friends and start a dinner party series. When I hear those stories, that means way more than anything else, and I think it's helped step into their highest power because when everyone wins, you win, and I think we all just need to, like, support people more and help people versus hide things from people. It's okay to show your cards. Life is not always a poker game.
How do you stay grounded in that work?
Would say I'm humbled on a daily basis, to be very honest. I definitely someone said, they're like, "You need to stop taking so many risks. You need to just," and I said,
I
"No,
know.
that's when you're growing, that's when you're learning." So something I call my challenge series where I like to take on these challenges. I'm not competing with anyone. I told people a long time ago when I stepped away from tennis, I stopped the competition and now I compete with myself. So for example, the Pilates studio down the street had 14 days like initiation to the studio. So I took that as I'm going to do reformer Pilates 14 days in a row and I'm going to get up and I'm going to go work out. And that's great. And the owner came up to me and said, you know that there's no reward for going 14 days in a row, right? And I said, no, I love it. It gets me up and out. I'm here at 6:30 in the morning. I'm doing my reformer. It's like a cute walk in the morning. I love it. And she thought, You're not going to get a prize. And I said, no, the prize is how I feel that I'm moving my body every day. And I also take on these other challenges too of like, what can I do to step outside my comfort zone? So I started going to a weightlifting class, which was so humbling. And I wish someone recorded it because it is really comical to watch me go from yoga Pilates world to lifting weights. But that definitely grounds me because I get to turn to the person next to me and say, "Hey, I have no idea what I'm doing." And it's those things when you have those self challenges, step outside your comfort zone, they keep you grounded and taking the risks and falling and getting back up. And someone told me recently, they said, it's not if you can bounce back up that matters. You can, it's how fast you bounce back that matters. So the speed is everything right now. And there's a couple articles that Catherine Holstein from Kate and then Ralph Lauren have independently said that they were both at one point perfectionists and now they're entering their speed era of fly the plane while you're building it, keep going. It might not be perfect, but get it out there. And Ralph Lauren is doing a lot with AI. And I thought if Catherine Holstein and Ralph Lauren, two iconic fashion designers, can talk about leaving perfection at the table and really entering speed, we can do that as well.
A testament to the evolution of multifaceted experts in their industries, and it shows that it doesn't take perfectionism to create something that resonates with a lot of people. It takes genuine evolution of self and understanding of self and the challenge that we offer ourselves. I cannot wait to take a weightlifting class with you when I'm in LA. I think it's going to be such a good time.
It's so much fun, and you'll see how I'm still such a newbie. Are you very into weightlifting yourself? Because, I have so many questions.
I don't wanna say anything because you're on a journey, and I'm so excited for that. I wanna be on that journey with you. I'm not new to it. I found weightlifting in a deeper capacity last year and became a coach, and so early
Amazing.
it was
Mm.
fun. Early mornings, I needed something to challenge myself to leadership in a different capacity, not in the crunchy, corporate capacity, which that's been an evolution of its own, but in a really fun, playful capacity and getting out of my head, getting into my body, and being alongside people who are there for self improvement. They made that decision, that investment in themselves that day. And I took it on. It was an incredible studio, which has since closed, an awesome community, and weightlifting has benefits obviously, beyond what we give it credit for when we're just in the gym lifting weights. It's mental health, it's physical health, it's cardiovascular health, it's strength, it's keeping us alive longer, it's all of those things. But it's also testing our patience and, being on the other side of the mic and coaching a room was a really unique experience, but it connected me to the importance of form in a way that
Mhm.
I didn't hold myself accountable to when
Mhm.
I would just lift weights. Um,
Good
so
point.
yeah, I have a little bit of experience with it, just a little.
I would say so. Oh, wow. Yeah, I'll definitely have to get some pointers from you because I need it.
We're coming up on time, so I wanna end with some AI conversation. I've heard a lot of, stories about AI becoming our best friends, but we're here to give you another way to use AI, and one that really can benefit your relationship with beauty products and consumerism. We don't have to buy everything to solve the problem that we're facing. So, what is a prompt that we should use when we're looking for, let's say, a moisturizer?
Take a step back, ignore the content, ignore the ads, ignore what your sister, your mom, your friends telling you. What is your problem and what does an ideal situation look like? My skin is incredibly dry, even though I'm using this moisturizer and I'm drinking 10 glasses of water a day. And I feel like I'm doing my 5 step skincare routine at night. You might not be, you might not understand that it was one small thing. Like I always joke, the one thing you thought you couldn't live without is actually the one thing costing you your peace. A lot of times that
Mm,
phrase applies to
mm.
skincare. So right now, actives. If you're combining actives, you're basically making this like explosion, like a chemistry. Like, think of like chemistry lab in high school. You're doing that on your face, but you're not seeing it. So your face is probably dry, even though you're using amazing moisturizer, because maybe you're putting too much of this mandelic acid on. Plus, you're walking outside all the time in New York, and that sun is actually causing the mandelic acid to dry out your skin, right? Or maybe that retinol is shouldn't go directly on your face. It should be a sandwich method of like moisturizer, retinol, moisturizer. So when I get to a prompt, there's no one prompt fit all, but I would start asking it questions of, this is my problem, such as I see eczema flare-ups. My rosacea is causing my foundation to not sit on my skin. Kind of connect the dots, and it's gonna help you. You're not gonna put in one prompt and get the perfect skincare piece. I would say I want to start using retinol to diminish fine lines. However, I want to spend under $50 on that retinol, and I still need to be able to layer my Armani Silk Luminous foundation on top of that moisturizer. And I don't want to use a primer because I break out from a primer. Google's back in the day is not going to answer that. Normally, you would write in Google, what's the best moisturizer, right? Perplexity, Gemini, ChatGPT, they're answering this and they're able to pull the ingredients from these products and say, this is a great moisturizer to pair with your retinol. However, if you're also wearing a heavier foundation, don't do this. Let's talk about skin cycling. So I would say it's kind of like a conversation you would have with your doctor. If they're just walking in there and prescribing you something, they're not a good doctor. If they're asking you, hey, are you doing hot yoga and you're sweating a lot? Maybe that's what's causing something. Let's talk about your nutrition, your diet, what you're putting in. Are you in a high stress job? Um, let's break that down because then you can kind of piece these things together, make it as specific as possible. In the same way with your doctor, you need to share as much information as you're willing to share to get the best answer so that you can find your solution.
Where's the industry headed? Where do you see it going? And what are you most excited about?
We all had fears about selling on Amazon about 12 years ago, where you would ask the average wellness or beauty brand, will you sell on Amazon? They said, no, never, never,
No.
never. Now,
No.
most of us are buying our mascara, even luxury mascara, right, on Amazon, or shampoo or conditioner or body wash. AI is the same way. A lot of people said AI is never going to touch the beauty industry. It's never going to touch wellness, especially wellness is all about the human, the customization, the personalization. I think there's a different perspective we need to take here of it is offering customized solutions that people are craving. And like we all know, especially with supplements, when I think of wellness, I think of you just can't take one supplement's different levels. What is your metabolism? You can't just rinse and repeat what your siblings doing, right? Your lifestyle is so different. It's chemistry. So that's where AI is going to help us is not only what we should be taking, how we should be using it, how often, and it's going to educate us without having a bias, hopefully, to point us in the right direction.
What are your thoughts on how it is improving consumerism for the better or in the modern woman's life?
If you went into the average, probably 30 something year old woman's medicine cabinet or bathroom counter, and there's all these products, she's probably not using all 40 of them at night, or hopefully she's not. She's probably experimented using them and opened a $90 moisturizer to find it's actually gonna trigger their skin and cause a flare up. That's terrible because not only did they waste $90, it caused more damage than good to their skin, and they wasted their time when all they're trying to do is heal it. Skin at the end of the day, I don't care if you're a makeup girl, a beauty girl, whatever, person, anything. Skin is our largest organ. It's really important to take care of it. Skin is a sign telling us our health and how we are doing, and we're really just starting to learn that in, recent times, which is wild. So, consumerism, I think, is going to get to more of a pinpoint of what we need and why versus this moisturizer will solve all your problems, or we've all heard this retinol, you will no longer need Botox, right? And we can't make blanket statements like that any longer. And AI is going to cut through that and get to the authentic messages, just helping people understand the truth.
The brand is finding how do I wanna say this? The consumer is finding a brand and connecting to that product in a much deeper way, and the brand is benefiting from this form of marketing reaching the right audience and an audience that improves their retention.
Yes, exactly.
You know, that conversion reconnects us to the point of it all, not to have everything all of the time or push marketing for all of these different things and overwhelm the average woman or person. It really helps us connect with that brand more intimately in a way that changes our life as the consumer, but also then, supports the brand in the ways that they should be supported because they're solving and they're improving that piece of
Hmm.
our lives.
That's a good point to make, and thanks for bringing that up. 100%. This is helping consumers, it's helping creators, it's helping investors, it's helping brands, businesses, right? If you're selling a product to a consumer and they don't know how to use it, they won't continue purchasing it and they won't be the advocate for that product. Word of mouth is the finest form of marketing. AI is helping us learn how to use, and I keep coming back to skincare because that's what we're specializing in as well as wellness, right? Is the layering and the order of products and the dosage of products is just as important as which brand you're using. It's how and when you're using it and where. So this is helping brands extend the lifetime value of their customer. When they're able to use it properly, they'll continue to replenish it. So this is helping everyone.
And then that is the perfect ending. And thank you so much for expanding our minds and our understanding of how we can interact with this more intimately. You are such a genuine, kind person. I just feel your energy and I'm really excited to see So Sloan thrive and grow. You guys are already crushing it and we are going to follow you and look for more.
Well, thank you, Alyssa. This has been an amazing conversation. I'm so happy we connected. And I think what you're doing is fabulous. And we need to do more of this. And you're really getting at the raw and the real of people and how they move the needle and how they build.
Thank you.